Hey everybody, welcome to my month 4 update on my Achilles tendon rupture. Again, my rupture was on December 10th, 2019, and I have decided to go the non-operative early rehab, early weight-bearing method of rehabilitation, and I'm now 4 months into that process and just wanted to provide everybody who's watching an update on where I'm at, what I'm capable of doing, and how I'm doing my rehab. This video is going to focus on my rehab protocol, what I've been doing, and this is particularly once I transitioned out of the boot and out of the resistance band type of rehab. During the early phases, I was doing lots of range of motion and light resistance band kind of work to just increase blood flow to the Achilles tendon, make sure it was still moving within a certain range up to neutral from plantar flexion. And once I took off the boot and reached a certain level where I could start doing heel lifts and more body weight rehabilitation therapy, I stopped doing lots of reps in light resistance, and I transitioned to doing as heavy as possible, almost up until I felt strain on the Achilles for a low repetition. So I would do what I was capable of doing kind of up to that line, and then I would do a couple reps at that, and then I'd stop. So I'd warm up first, of course, maybe 15 reps of just getting the Achilles and the calf primed, and then after that I would do heavy resistance for what my Achilles is capable of. So like week 9, that was 25% body weight, and then progressively loading it more and more up until now, 4 months, where I'm able to do a solid heel raise. I can do a max height heel raise, and I'm actually even adding weight at this point. So I wanted to show you that. But important thing to note is my rehab protocol is low repetition, high resistance, and that does, while it feels good at the time, it does cause some temporary soreness. I said in past videos that I was trying to not get to that point, but I haven't been able to do it. I just get sore. I have to take a day or two off where I just do light resistance, just really just essentially range of motion, just get it moving nice and easy. A day or two off, and then I come back and it's always been stronger than it was before. So maybe this towing that line, obviously never going past it, but doing what you can and what you comfortably can each time is important, is effective. So that's what I've been doing since then, and it's working for me. It's also helped. I had a really struggled earlier this week where I did a bunch of rehab, and I mowed my lawn. I have a half-acre lawn I mow, push mower, and it all felt good. But then the next day I was really tender, and it was actually at the injury site, and I was really confident it was scar tissue tenderness. I took 2 days off where I just didn't do anything besides light, gentle stretching and a bit of massage on the Achilles, between myself, my wife, and a foam roller. And then the next day, I gained an inch of dorsiflexion, just like that, and it doesn't hurt anymore. So that's a good thing, I think. I think that's part of the progress, part of the process. Anyways, I'm just going to get right into the rehab this time, talk about some more stuff later, particularly bruising on the ankle that I still have, and aspirin therapy, whether that's advised for everybody or what particular populations need that. And that will be coming from myself as a Mark Papillo, Doctor of Pharmacy. So Doctor of Pharmacy with his input on what the studies say as far as anticoagulants and aspirin. But first, let's get right into the therapy. I'll show you what I'm doing. And I apologize, it's a really nice day here where I live and everyone's doing yard work, so background noise is just gonna be there. All right, first I'm gonna do max height heel lift. Good leg. Injured leg. Alright, next thing I want to show is I feel like the max height heel lift, it's pretty compatible with my non-injured foot, so I'm getting it all the way up. And now I'm going to add some weight to it. That's the next goal, is to be able to do a max height heel lift with some weight. And I'm going to start doing a couple reps from the top down, and then I'll work from the bottom up. $10. Good leg. Good leg. So I don't think it got all the way up with the 10 pounds added. Let me give it another go. Good leg. So I'm still working on getting the injured leg to max height once I add weight. So that was 10 pounds of adding. It got pretty high, but I don't think it went 100% up like it does with just my body weight. So still a work in progress. 10 pounds I have done a couple times where it's gotten all the way up. That time I didn't, but I think it's pretty close, and it's getting closer all the time to improving. So just progressing it like I can, what feels good. Taking the days off when I'm sore, just doing light stretching, range of motion stuff, and then getting back to the rehab. I'll show you my max effort heel lifts. You'll probably notice that after one or two, the full range of motion stops, and that's okay. I'm just trying to improve. I'm just going to show you what I'm capable of doing currently. So I'll do good leg first. So my count was 35, where I started to fail on the good leg. Now let's show the bad leg. So that was 15. Felt really solid. Most of the strain, almost 99% of the strain for every rep was in my calf. Mostly felt like in my soleus and a bit up here. Not much strain in my Achilles, but I could tell I was getting weaker at that 15th rep, so stopped before I hit any dangerous point. That felt good. That was the most I've ever done right there. So hopefully the range of motion was pretty good, especially on the early reps. But yeah, keep focusing on range of motion, and I'm doing a lot of starting at the top with that full range of motion and just holding it there, holding it with weight to kind of encourage that complete range of motion. So I'll just do one more rep of that. and the fatigue is real. So that was very difficult to do the 10 pounds hold at the top. When I'm fresh, I can hold it for quite a few seconds, but you know, part of this is the endurance is just shot, so that's part of the rehab process as well. I'll show you a couple other things I'm doing. Let's do the dorsiflexion next, show you where my knee to wall is. Just exciting news is I just got past my toes, so if I push my toes to a wall, I can now touch the wall with my knee for the first time. I'm at 17 and a half-ish weeks, 4 months, so that's good. Still not doing much stretching. I'm doing a little bit now, but not too aggressive by any means, just kind of letting it come naturally. So like mowing my lawn, it caused some soreness on the injury site, which only happened on the outside right here. There's a little lump still where the scar tissue is. That's all where the tightness and soreness and tenderness I felt was right there. The dorsiflexion, the stretch is coming back just by doing natural movements like pushing a lawnmower through my lawn. So I also do notice too what I believe is, sorry for the crotch shot, what I believe is the tibial tendon, which goes right underneath the ankle bone. Just from lack of use, that is really tight on me as well. Since I haven't been dorsiflexing, that connects from your tibia down to the arch of your foot. And that for me, right here under the ankle bone, very tight, as well as my Achilles. So I notice both quite a bit when I dorsiflex, here and in the back being super tight. And I just think that's from not being used. It's a tendon that's used to being stretched all the time, and it's not been stretched now for 4 months. So it's also very tight for me. So I'm kind of don't want to cause tendonitis in that as I stretch either. So just cautiously letting natural movement help me stretch. So I'll show you where I'm at for that too. So there's the wall. And this is not flat, so let me show you this way. There's the wall. My foot's about half an inch away. Bow. An inch away. Bow. There's a tiny, probably a 1/4 inch lift on these shoes, which gives me a little aid. Let's take them off. Let's do an inch. Got it. An inch past my knee, which my good foot again does 6 inches. So I'm now an inch past neutral on dorsiflexion, which is, it's great. It really helps my walk look a lot more natural. I'll show you some of my agility stuff. I got a ladder set up here with chalk. Jogging. One more. Gotta do one good one. Gotta do one good one. A little rusty and the movement's still not natural, but Feels good. Feels great to do that kind of stuff. Obviously, don't reach for anything that's going to put you in any harm's way, but nice to be able to juggle a ball casually. So the rehab's good. Again, reiterate, heavy rehab, low reps, take breaks and rest when you need it, and just do a kind of passive range of motion while you recover if you're sore. So getting sore, maybe not the worst thing in the world for you. Sometimes you need to push it a little bit, obviously with intelligence. Very important. Do not get re-injured. That is the main goal. You probably see my calf muscle is still coming back, much smaller than my other one, but it is redeveloping. I'm pretty happy with that. Achilles size still significantly larger than the healthy one. That's of course part of the process. Don't really notice the dent anymore. I just notice kind of the scar tissue is chunked up on the top part of the injury site. But again, I'm just kind of working through it. It'll recover. It'll go away as you kind of let your body do what it naturally does and heal, and just to do what you can to encourage it to do so with proper movement patterns and keeping it involved instead of just letting it sit and rot. So last thing I wanted to talk about before I get into the aspirin is Achilles. The Achilles is still causing some bruising on my ankle, and I refer to it as petechiae. It's like little red dots, and let's see if I can show you. Angle this down. All throughout there. Little red dots all throughout here. And my theory is that it happens more when I rehab, happens more when I have a little bit of swelling, and I think it's just some scar tissue slightly breaking down and that movement coming back, causing a little bit of superficial bruising. It doesn't hurt at all, it doesn't itch, but it kind of comes and goes a little bit during my therapy process. So that's happening on my ankle. If it's familiar to you, that's my theory on what is happening, is just a bit of petechiae from the scar tissue breaking down. Doesn't hinder me whatsoever, but it's there, it's noticeable. And then the last thing I want to talk about is aspirin. Lots of people question, should I take aspirin? Should I be on anticoagulants? And that is, of course, as always, it depends. For someone who's having surgery and then they're immobilized, 100% you need anticoagulants to prevent blood clots. That is recommended. If you're immobilized, especially after surgery, you're at a high risk for DVT, for embolism, for having a heart attack or a stroke because of those things. So aspirin is indicated for those people. For someone who's non-op and they're doing the outdated, old-fashioned conservative route, which still happens, and they're immobilized, I would probably advise an aspirin for them as well, because you have an injury and you're immobilized, and immobilization is a clot risk. If you're in a population if you're a smoker, if you have heart disease, if you have previous clot history, even something as simple as if you're on hormones like birth control, again, those are clot risk. They increase chances of clots. So aspirin probably would be advised for you as well. It indicated in those circumstances because the risk to benefit ratio would skew towards aspirin's probably beneficial. For someone like me who have no risks outside of the injury, and I did early weight bearing, early range of motion, so I'm not immobilized, aspirin is not recommended because I'm not immobilized, I have no other risk factors, and aspirin does have an effect on the healing process. And I think you want your healing process to be as natural as possible and to move with it and to encourage it, not interfere with it. So for someone who's doing the non-op early method, just the weight bearing right away with a boot, early range of motion, not past neutral, I would say don't take aspirin. Now again, the side effects, the downside of aspirin is very small, but it does have an effect on the natural healing system. So I would say you're probably not hurting yourself too much to use it, but I would say best evidence would be not to use it. So that's my take as a doctor of pharmacy, and I hope you do your own research and use that as just simply guidance to discuss with your own practitioner, your provider, your physician, or whoever's following you along. But that's my status on 4 months. Feeling really good. Have had ups and downs, of course. Some soreness where it was really annoying, but today I feel great. Pushed to rehab. Might be sore tomorrow, but part of the journey, part of the process. I'm gonna enjoy this beautiful day. Be well.